I remember these. Will I have the money to send my kid to college? Well, that's specific. How long has that been there? 7-letter word for a bank that helps you reach your goals.
Synovus. Order for Synovus?
Thank you.
Are you Synovus?
Yes.
Are you gonna ask or should I?
A solid financial future doesn't happen by chance. Let's talk about your potential today.
The State Farm Personal Price Plan helps you create an affordable price just for you. Call State Farm agent Arthur Searcy for your personal price plan today.
From affordable home equity lines and home loans to high-yield checking that pays 5.05% APY, Pen Air combines innovative banking with a commitment to our community. Pen Air Credit Union. Join us.
Reign in the new year with a dazzling smile. Dr. Paul and the team at Marcus E. Paul DMD Gentle Family and Cosmetic Dentistry offer expert and comfortable dental care. From tooth replacement to addressing various needs, their friendly staff is ready to assist. Visit their office or call for the care you deserve. Achieve a beautiful smile with Marcus E. Paul DMD Gentle Family and Cosmetic.
Start your day with Mornings with Vernon on WBQP, Monday through Friday from 6:30 to 9 a.m. Watch on Channel 12 and listen on WBQP Radio on your phone, Alexa, or CarPlay. WBQP is your information station.
It's time for Mornings with Vernon. Yeah. Yeah. Get up now. Come on now. Get up. For Mornings with Vernon. Get up now. Let's go. Get up now. Turn it up now. One.
Good morning, good morning, good morning.
Start your day with Mornings with Vernon on WBQP, Monday through Friday from 6:30 to 9 a.m. Watch on Channel 12 and listen on WBQP Radio on your phone, Alexa, or CarPlay. WBQP is your information station.
It's time for Mornings with Vernon. Yeah. Yeah. Get up now. Come on now. Get up. For Mornings with Vernon. Get up now. Let's go. Get up now. Turn it up now. 1, 2, 3. Let's get it now.
Start your day with Mornings with Vernon on WBQP, Monday through Friday from 6:30 to 9 a.m. Watch on Channel 12 and listen on WBQP Radio on your phone, Alexa, or CarPlay. WBQP is your information station.
It's time for Mornings with Vernon. Yeah. Yeah. Get up now. Come on now. Get up. For Mornings with Vernon. Get up now. Let's go. Get up now. Turn it up now. 1, 2, 3. Let's get it now.
Start your day with Mornings with Vernon on WBQP, Monday through Friday from 6:30 to 9 a.m. Watch on Channel 12 and listen on WBQP Radio on your phone, Alexa, or CarPlay. WBQP is your information station.
All right, Pensacola, good morning, good morning, good morning. You got Vernon this morning. Yeah, you got Mr. Vernon this morning. I want to say good morning to everybody under the sound of Vernon's voice this morning. Yeah. We're going to try to get everybody online and try to get everybody on Facebook, and we're going to do everything this morning. Just remember now, tell everybody how you can get the hound, okay? Tell everybody how you can get the Vernon this morning, okay? Only thing you have to do, again, You want to listen to it? Just go to just type in RDO type.to/WBQP. Okay? All you have to do. RTO.to/WBQP. You got us. Just get on Alexa. Say, Alexa. If you hadn't already enhanced the skill, just say, Alexa, enhance the WBQP skill. Alexa, enhance the WBQP skill. And then from then on, after she does that, then you just say, Alexa, play WBQP. And it's done. It is done, y'all. Yes, sir. It is done. We want to prepare and everybody that's on us on our Facebook page this morning. Good morning. Everybody's I'm trying to get us up right now on Facebook and see if we are live there on Facebook. We got another great show today, y'all. We got the sheriff at 8:30. Hopefully we got a special guest this morning at 8 o'clock. Mr. Josh, he's the person that is in charge of, Josh Wallace is in charge of making sure that stuff happens down at Baptist Hospital. That we got him scheduled for 8 a.m. this morning. Good morning, everybody. And we're going to talk about what's going on in and around your world. We're going to talk about a little about history. Talk about a little stuff about MLK. So we got a good little show going on for you this morning. Friday, it's the weekend. We got weather coming through. It may and it may not impact us. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about you being safe this weekend. So we got a lot of good stuff going on this morning. So the only thing I want you to do is when you're on social media, when you go to your Facebook page, okay, when you go to your Facebook page, just go in and like, subscribe, and share. Okay, like, subscribe, and share. All right, y'all. This is Vernon. I'll be right back in just a few minutes. Okay, and after these messages.
It's time for mornings with Vernon. Yeah. Yeah. Get up now. Come on now. Get up. Yeah. Get up now. Let's go. Get up now. Turn it up now. 1, 2, 3. Let's get it now.
Looking for a moment of faith, hope, and connection? Join us for Prayer Perspectives by J.O. Gatson, live on WBQP TV and WBQP Radio. Every first Wednesday of the month from 9 to 10 p.m. Call in, share your prayer request, and receive prayer in real time. Mark your calendar starting February 4th. Prayer, Perspective, Power. Only on WBQP TV and WBQP Radio.
Viola's Menswear, 2727 West Cervantes Street, Pensacola, Florida. Gentlemen, fine clothing at an affordable price. Suits starting at $139. Dress, shoes, hats, and accessories. Here at Viola's Menswear, 2727 West Cervantes Street in Pensacola, Florida. Call today at 429-7146, 2727 West Cervantes Street in Pensacola, Florida.
Navigating heart care can be challenging. Baptist makes it better with the latest treatments and innovations and the area's largest, most experienced heart team ready to create a care plan just for you. All when you need us most. Let Baptist make it better. Baptist Healthcare.
Some mobile companies make it hard to get a good deal. But at Cox Mobile, we know there's a better way to save. A smarter way. That's why we run on the network with unbeatable 5G reliability without breaking the bank. You'll pay as low as $30 per line. It's a win-win. Cox Mobile, the smart way to mobile.
Need a new outfit for a special occasion? Look no further than Viola's Men's Apparel. Viola's has been providing the latest styles and accessories in Pensacola for over 20 years now. We have clothes for every occasion, and we offer consultations and group discounts. You can trust that our care, quality, and class will be unmatched. Viola's Men's Apparel, for all of your menswear needs.
Hi, I'm Bubba Peters with the Escambia County Property Appraiser, reminding you that March is the deadline to file for your homestead exemption, which reduces your property tax. You can file on our website or visit our office. You will need a valid Florida ID and Social Security numbers for each owner. Owners with disability and seniors over 65 may qualify for additional exemptions. Our friendly staff will be happy to assist you with filing for any additional exemptions that you may qualify for. If you have any questions, please call us at 434-2735 or visit our website at escpa.org.
From affordable home equity lines and home loans to high-yield checking that pays 5.05% APY, Pen Air combines innovative banking with a commitment to our community. Pen Air Credit Union. Join us.
I remember these. Will I have the money to send my kid to college? Well, that's specific. How long has that been there? 7-letter word for a bank that helps you reach your goals.
Synovus. Order for Synovus?
Thank you.
Are you Synovus?
Yes.
Are you gonna ask or should I?
A solid financial future doesn't happen by chance. Let's talk about your potential today.
This is Prayer Perspectives by J.O. Gatson on your WBQP.
Father God in heaven, we come with expressions of love and gratitude, acknowledging you as Lord, God of all mankind. We come, and dear God, we bring our hearts to you as we pray. We're bent over towards you, dear God, for your consolation and comfort in our lives because of the struggles that we're dealing with in this current day time. Death all around us, sickness is prevalent. Families are distorted and broken. But yet we come because you are God, and besides thee, there's none other. So, Lord, dear God, we've pressed our way like the woman with the issue of blood. She said, if I could but just touch the hem of his garment, I shall be made whole. This is our prayer. In Jesus' name, amen.
This is Prayer Perspectives by J.O. Gatson on your WBQP.
It's time for Mornings with Vernon. Yeah. Yeah. Get up now. Come on now. Get up. For Mornings with Vernon. Get up now. Let's go. Get up now. Turn it up now. 1, 2, 3. Let's get it out.
Good morning, Pensacola. You got Vernon this morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Yeah, you got Vernon this morning. Today is the weekend, and Mr. Hill would always say, yeah, the weekend, and the weekend in Pensacola is made for each other. All right, y'all. Good morning. Friday. It's Friday. Want to get up? Energy Friday, y'all. Absolutely. Friday, y'all. All right, y'all. If you listen to us on social media, please share with your folks there on social media. Let everybody know that we're on this morning. Yes, we are. We share and share alike. And the reason you have to share is because you don't have the same friends that I have. You got different friends, and we want to make sure that everybody is there. So share. We want to say hello to Miss Lois Pritt, Mrs. Lois Bless Pritt up in the STL. I know it must be freezing up there. Happy Frozen Day. Yeah, it's freezing Friday. She says freezing Friday there in the STL. So if you hadn't gotten your coffee, y'all, you up there in those cold states that listen to me this morning, get your cup of coffee. Get your cup of coffee. It'll sure warm you up inside that. Stay cool and be careful and be blessed, okay? Yes, sir. Number one, stay out of the weather because this flu is not anything to play with now, okay? Flu is not anything to play with. We're going to talk a little bit about some safety things that you can do during this cold weather so you can stay safe, so you don't cause any fires, or you don't cause any deaths in your home from carbon monoxide and stuff like that. So we'll get to that as we go along this morning. We're going to talk about some public service announcement as we go. You know, January is considered National Mental Health Month, okay? So please take care of people that might be in that arena, okay? So please do that because we have a lot of mental health issues going on as we're doing now. All right, y'all, I think we ought to just jump right into the news, the local news session, and the state news and national news. Well, let's jump first right in to some of the local news, folks. On yesterday, Rodney Jones, one of Pensacola's local advocates, civil rights advocates. He's been involved with many great organizations. He's a youth director and so forth. He was arrested. He was arrested yesterday along with his son because we don't have the details are not. We don't have many details about it, but he was arrested on a sexual assault charge, and his son was also arrested as well for tampering with the witness or something that they're saying. But as more information and details come out, we will report it as it is. But many of us know Rodney Jones. Just remember, I always say at least 3 sides to a story: your side, my side, and the truth there. So this side is that he has been arrested and charged with sexual assault. He and his son. His son is not charged with the same things he's charged with, but both of them are in jail under a no bond as we sit here today. Okay, maybe they got arraigned by now, but I'm not sure. Okay, I'm not sure about that. Okay, so anyway, that's what's the breaking news is for today. Okay, yes, that's right. All right, folks, and we're going to go into other stuff in the news this morning. An Atmore man, okay?
This
Atmore
is
man,
Prayer
he was
Perspectives by J.O.
Gatson
on your WBQP.
Life in prison for an ambush that
God in heaven,
he done
expressions
several
of love and
days ago.
Acknowledging
I got a lot of these. I had a lot of these
God of all
pictures on here, but obviously my pictures is not working this morning.
We
and
bring
you know how it goes when whenever you know what they say when you try to do something. My mama said the devil. My mama said, you know, the devil is busy this morning. But anyway, we were going to report that the an Atmore man, he was been sentenced to life in prison for the 24 for the killing and ambush of a 24-year-old Pensacola man. Okay, so he is going to. He has been sentenced already.
So Lord, dear God, we've pressed our way like the woman with the issue of blood.
It is what it is.
She said, if Mr. But just
I'm still trying to bring up my
this is our prayer.
Fix about that.
In Jesus' name.
But we'll continue.
This is Prayer Perspectives by J.O. Gatson on your WBQP.
Back here for 1 second here and see if I can bring his picture up. That's what I'm trying to do is bring his picture up, y'all. So I'm not having much luck this morning. And whenever you're trying to do something, you can't always bring it up. But I want to show you his picture in there, but it's not cooperating with me anymore. But anyway, I'm going to move on. Want to move on. Also, in the local news and on the local news arena, in some better news, I guess you want to call that. Santa Rosa County is also named their Teacher of the Year, 2027 Teacher of the Year. I think her name is Mrs. Daya Hood. And she's at Milton High School, Ms. Daya Hood. And I want to say congratulations to her. Okay, congratulations to her. She will be the 2027 Teacher of the Year for Escambia County, y'all. 27 for 2027. We want to congratulate those folks that are doing real good in our community. All righty. Let me bounce on. Trying to put up all my pictures, y'all. But it ain't, like I said, it ain't nothing they ever want to cooperate with me this morning. All right, well, let's move on. Let's move on, folks. Into more local news. A guy, y'all. This is very important that an individual was involved in a hit and run accident sometimes earlier this month. Okay, earlier this month, and he was involved with a hit and run, and his family trying to get justice for this young man here. Okay, his family trying to get justice. He was on his skateboard. I guess they got these what they call these motorized skateboards, and he was hit by a man. Or actually, two men. They said two men in the car. They actually hit him, hit and run. An individual said that they got out, but they didn't come check on him, and they left left him there. And somebody found him, and so they're trying to get justice for that. The Highway Patrol is investigating, but the parents saying that they're not doing a great enough job of trying to find the hit and run for her son, for that child. So if you got any information, if you got any cameras, if you live up around that Burgess Road, I think it's happened up around Burgess Road area, there where the school is, and if you got any information leading to that, get a hold of the sheriff department regarding that. Okay, all right. Again, 20-year-old, this guy here, a 21-year-old man was sentenced. He was sentenced to life in prison. Now, I know you probably remember this case here that sometime back when they had this drive-by shooting, okay? And 3 individuals involved with drive-by shooting that resulted into the death of Mrs. Myra Hayes. Mrs. Myra Hayes, 70, sitting in a yard, an innocent bystander, and she was killed as a result of it. So this is one of the 3 individuals. This individual here was sentenced to life without parole. Okay, sentenced to life without parole. Okay. So, wow, justice will be served. Another Pensacola man, he was charged with the death of this young woman here, and he was arrested. His bond, he is set for no bond because he is charged with providing her fentanyl, okay, providing fentanyl, and that is the cause of her death, and now he is going to have to be charged. He will be charged with the cause of her death. Okay. More local news, if you will, up in Atmore, Alabama, y'all remember during MLK holidays up in Atmore, it was having on Monday. It was having a MLK party, if you will, a block party. Must have had to happen on Monday night. Yeah, must have happened on Monday night. There was a shooting in the area. They were trying to recover trying to determine who and what was involved with that shooting up in Atmore during the MLK celebration. They finally arrested somebody with that crime on yesterday, and hopefully that will resolve. Hopefully that they found everybody. So, but anyway, get your details about it. I just got is headlines, and I'm sketchy about all of the details that is involved with that. Okay. Alrighty then. All right, now everybody know that Pensacola got a new logo, right? I saw the new Pensacola logo yesterday. This is it right here, and it's a good thing. It's a good thing, but without everything's good. What I always say, whenever there's a dark cloud, there's a silver lining behind it. And this silver lining that Pensacola spent probably $25,000 on trying to change the logo, but it does not come without controversy, y'all. Does not come without controversy. The city council saying that at least some members of the city council saying they were somewhat blindsided about it, and that the mayor has not always been transparent with them when they come into spending the city taxpayers' dollars. They gave them authority to do it, but they also want to be informed about it, and some issues has arose regarding that fact. Okay, so if you're in the city of Pensacola, look to prepare for some issues. Okay, some issues involving those with that. Okay, but nevertheless, this is the new Pensacola logo, and some controversy about it between the mayor and the city on who. And I guess it's just a notification of it. But keep your eyes on that. Just keep your eyes on that story, because that is just one of the few things I think the city council, in part, are concerned about. They're not saying necessarily that the mayor has been completely transparent with city council. That is their position. Okay, so just keep your eyes on that story, and you will hear a lot more about it as we go along here. Also, in other local news, I was telling you about the weather The weather, we're going to have some weather coming in. Going to get a little bit colder. I know you can't tell it right now, but it's kind of warm outside right now. But if in fact, when the weather do come in, I just want to give you some safety tips, if you will. Okay, carbon monoxide poisoning is an issue. Okay, carbon monoxide poisoning is an issue. So we want you to make sure that you are safe. Number one, you need to get you a carbon monoxide detector to put in your house. Carbon monoxide, you may, and a lot of things could cause carbon monoxide poisoning, and you may not know it. If you have flu, like some of the symptoms of it, though, and it's deadly. It is deadly. Some of the symptoms are pretty much like the flu. Okay, so one of these telltale signs of it is that if you and all of your family are sharing those same symptoms, and it may not necessarily be a cold, it might be symptoms of carbon monoxide. So check if you do check with your doctor and see what's going on with it if you do. But more than anything, make sure you put you a carbon monoxide detector in your house, and it will detect any carbon monoxide that is not safe. Okay, and during this winter, please do not try to use a generator inside at all. You know, sometimes during the storm and sometimes during power outage, people crank up those generators. Do not, because it emits carbon monoxide poisoning. So don't do that. Not even in your garage. You leave it in your, don't put it in your garage. At least keep it. It's suggested that if you're going to use a generator, keep it at least 20 feet away from the house in an open area where you can get a lot of air. Do not try to use a generator in your garage because it will seep into your house. Okay, do not try to use your garage. Now, we're also suggesting that when this winter is coming, do not try to warm your house with the oven. Okay, with your oven, it's sometimes those issues occur when you got gas, particularly people with gas ovens. Okay, so that's another symptom. So don't try to heat your house that way. Heat it the normal way. If you got electrical stuff, make sure that if you got electrical space heaters, make sure you plug those space heaters into the proper outlet. Okay, try to never use them in a extension cord. Never use your oven for trying to heat your house. Don't ever leave your car running without circulating. Some people get in the car and say, I'm cold, I'm going to get in the car and I'm going to turn the car on to get warm. Carbon monoxide poison as well. Some people try to even keep the cars and with the garage door down. Do never, not ever do that. Don't ever run your car in your garage, okay, if without having the doors open. And they do not suggest you do that at all if you got an attached garage. But if you got a detached garage, you make sure that you open your garage door if you intend to run the engine. So just some safety tips for you, okay? Just safety tips for you that you can use. Alrighty, I believe let's go back to some bit of good news in and around Pensacola. Yesterday, there was a ceremony, and I thought I had a graphic for that, but maybe not. But on yesterday, they had a ceremony down at the Veterans Park, which they honored a person here in Pensacola and gave him the gold medal. It was for Private Thomas Martin. You know, he's passed on, but they honored him as being a Marine, okay? Being a Marine, and, you know, for a long time, black folks was not allowed in the Marines. I think they did open up the Marine Corps to black folks until 1941. But Private Thomas Martin, he was one of those Marines, original recruits that was recruited back in 1991. So he was honored yesterday down at the Veteran Memorial Park, and he was among one of the first black people to join the Marines. Okay, but he died back in 1987. But his family was there to accept the award for him on yesterday, and we're proud of him and his family. Let me see what else on the local thing that we should talk about. Okaloosa County, y'all. Let's go over to Okaloosa County for a few minutes. Okaloosa County, the NAACP, if y'all know Sabu Williams is the president of the Okaloosa County chapter of the NAACP, and they have been on the county's case about addressing the flooding issues over there at Gap Creek. So if you hadn't heard about it, you're going to hear a lot more about that as you go along. There's been a lot of issues involved in that. Also, a lady locally that she pleaded that hit, it was a DUI incident that happened on Pensacola Beach some time ago. And she was, this lady here pleaded no contest in that DUI incident, which that DUI crash resulted into the death of a motorcyclist. And so yesterday, she pleaded no contest to that. And then I was talking about the creek area there in Okaloosa County. This is a picture of the creek over at Gap Creek over in Santa Rosa County that the NAACP is having some real concerns with over there. Okay. All right. I think that's probably wraps up the local stuff. I think I talked about everything on the local scene. I don't think I missed anything. I think I told you about the Pensacola man charged with the fentanyl death. We talked about that. Let's talk about one other thing here that we need to talk about a little bit. It indirectly affect us, but directly. In Alabama, right across the state here in Alabama, they have what they call a youth offender law that it's at the judge's discretion when a youth offender do something. They can be tried as an adult, or they be tried as youth. If they be tried as a youth, and then their records be suspended, sealed, if you will, once they do some time and turn a certain age. But now Alabama is trying to kind of reverse that. Okay, they're trying to reverse that. They're saying that anybody that's guilty of a certain crime, regardless of age, should be treated that way. So they're not giving the judges they proposing not to give the judges any of the discretion on doing that. So we'll definitely see what happens with that. All right, let's move on to some state news. Your governor, Mr. DeSantis, is investing your state's money. They're investing $20 million, y'all, into training opportunities for nurses. We got a shortage of nurses nationwide and statewide. So the state is investing $20 million into schools, training programs, and stuff like that to try to combat the nursing shortages here in the state of Florida. So stay tuned and read more about that as we go along. All right, what about on the national scene? Let's talk about some stuff that's happening on the national scene. All right, your Attorney General, A.G. Bondi, Mrs. Bondi, she says she's going to crack down on protests in churches. As you well aware, happened this weekend in Minnesota. Protesters stormed a church service, interrupted a church service in Minnesota. And the reason they interrupted this church service in Minnesota because the pastor of that church is in charge of the ICE facility there, okay, in Minnesota. And so they was protesting that. Well, the Trump administration did not like that, and now they're trying to hold those protesters accountable. And we talked a little bit about it on yesterday about the protesting and the act that they call an act called FACE. I think it's called FACE, F-A-C-E. So you can look it up and to see what all of that means. And you're going to hear again a lot more about it. So read it in detail, if you will, about what's happening in that. But that is our Attorney General. Also, federal agencies now in Minnesota have gained, if you will, want to regain power to crack down on Minnesota protesters after the court decision. There was a court decision earlier on in the week barring the ICE agent from using the tactics that they're using, the aggressive tactics, pepper spraying people and arresting them and doing all that kind of stuff. Well, a lower court banned it there, put a stay on that, said they couldn't do that. Well, an appeals court put a stay on that order so that now they're back to business as usual. Okay, back to business as usual. And as a result, they're saying that they have been arresting hundreds of people now. Okay, up there. They've been arresting hundreds of people up in Minnesota. Nothing is restraining them. In fact, yesterday, one of the issues that came up yesterday, they even arrested a 5-year-old. Okay, a 5-year-old individual. They arrested him along with his father. There's a lot of controversy about that. Rather than them turning the child over to some other adult, that did not happen. Everybody got their reasons on why that did not happen, but the fact remained is that he is in custody with his daddy right now, in the custody of ICE agent. And in fact, they have sent that individual out of state. Okay, they're not even in the state of Minnesota anymore. So they arrest these people and they send them to a whole new holding. Maybe it's the holding facilities. I don't know, but they arrest them out of the state of Florida. All right, your president is back from his trip to Davos, and well, he kind of backed down about his Greenland thing. So I don't know. Maybe when you stand up to bullies, maybe they back down. Maybe that's a lesson to us in America. The NATO and those individuals. And now he claiming, regardless of how defeated, that's one thing you have to understand about him. One thing, I don't care how defeated he claimed victory. If everything is up, he claims it's down. If everything's down, he claims it up, regardless. So he's saying that he got a framework and a concept of controlling Greenland after they told him, hell to the no. We're not interested in becoming a part of the United States. In fact, we reported on this week that they taunted him by having red MAGA hats. It says MAGA, but that MAGA means make America go away instead of whatever Trump wanted to mean. Okay. Also, let's move on. We're talking about, and then big issue now talking about his health. Okay. I always question his mental health. If you ask me, he's a candidate for the 25th Amendment, in my opinion. Okay, but that's just me. But I think what we see every day is not normal, folks. Something wrong with that boy. I'm telling y'all right now, something is wrong with that boy. What he's doing is not normal, but yet he's allowed to do it. Okay, but there've been a lot of issues concerned about his hands lately. His hands been extremely bruised on both hands. Okay, if you see the bruises all over his hand, the public is very concerned about that. The White House writes it off as the first time they were writing it off at, well, it does that because of all the handshaking he done. I think the latest version is that maybe he hit his hand against something and that caused the bruising. We don't know, but I think America is concerned about the health of their presidency. Okay. Also, the House have passed a $1.2 trillion spending bill. Okay. We'll see how that is going to work out. Okay. 1.2 trillion, not billion now. $1.2 trillion spending bill. Wow. We'll see again how that's going to work out. All right. Now, Jack Smith, y'all remember Jack Smith, this guy here? He was investigating Trump before the election. He testified yesterday in public about his investigation. Bottom line is, he said he had evidence beyond a reasonable doubt that Donald Trump committed crimes. Okay, he testified that what he could. Some judge down in South Florida that's in the pocket of the president, Judge Cannon. I think that was in the document case. He couldn't talk about that as well, but the other evidence that he said he collected, he was quite clear that he had enough evidence to convict him had he went to trial, but because of he ran out of time, simply because the 34 count felon was re-elected for president of the United States. You just go figure for me. I don't know. All right, well, let's talk about some other news on the national scene that you're going to hear about. They nominated, they have their nominations for the Academy Awards. I think I don't know what year is it for the Academy Award, but the movie, have you seen the movie Sinners? Sinners has, I think, was put in for more awards than anybody else. I think there was 17 recommendation for Sinners to do the Academy Award. So if you remember the movie, some people liked the movie, some people didn't. It's Michael Jordan. What's his name? Michael T. Jordan, whatever his name. He played a dual role as his twin in that movie. So if you hadn't seen the movie, just now it got a lot of nominations for the Academy Award. I think it got 17 of them, 16, 17. Get more than everybody else. So this is the 98th Academy Award, and so you'll hear a lot more about it. 17 nominations for it. Okay, we'll see. Okay, if you hadn't seen the movie, you might want to go out and take a look at it. All right. Also concerned is that are you familiar with the PFAS toxic slurs? You know, farmers used to use manure, if you will, human waste, and animal waste to spray their fields for their farms. But studies indicate that as a result of using that waste, if you will, it results in what they call PFAS. PFAS is an element that causes cancer. So you're going to hear a lot about that as well, whether or not farmers should be or shouldn't be using human waste and animal waste and stuff like that to fertilizing their fields for producing products, service products, and fruits and stuff like that, because it develops a certain level of PFAS, which PFAS result into cancer. And speaking of cancer, my last topic I want to talk about as well. Speaking of cancer, the number one cancer on the rise in America is colorectal cancer, colon cancer. So, given that, make sure you start getting screened early, if you will, for colon. You do colorectomy exam because that is the number one leading cause of cancer death is that. All right, I think I covered the world today. I don't know. We're going to talk about some other public service announcement locally when we come back from the break. But other than that, we have gave you a little bit of outlook on what's going on in the world, in your community, and what's around you. Okay, so for details about it, go to your news source. Okay, just go to your news source. Go to the DAR, Pensacola News Journal, whoever you get your news from. They will give you the details. I'll give you the headlines. Okay, all right, we'll be right back, y'all.
It's time for Mornings with Vernon. Yeah. Yeah. Get up now. Come on now. Get up. For Mornings with Vernon. Get up now. Let's go. Get up now. Turn it up now. 1, 2, 3. Let's get it now.
Hi, I'm Bubba Peters with the Escambia County Property Appraiser, reminding you that March is the deadline to file for your homestead exemption, which reduces your property tax. You can file on our website or visit our office. You will need a valid Florida ID and Social Security numbers for each owner. Owners with disability and seniors over 65 may qualify for additional exemptions. Our friendly staff will be happy to assist you with filing for any additional exemptions that you may qualify for. If you have any questions, please call us at 434-2735 or visit our website at escpa.org.
Got projects in mind? A Pen Air home equity line gives you access to funds without the fees. Pen Air Credit Union. Join us.
Day or night, your loved ones show up for you. At HCA Florida Healthcare, we do too. Because you're the center of our family, Florida's largest healthcare family. And you'll feel it in everything we do. HCA Florida Healthcare. We show up for you.
These new Times the Cash scratch-offs have a fun multiplier feature. They're fun. You're fun. We're fun.
Agree to agree. Times the Cash scratch-offs from the Florida Lottery. It's good fun.
Hey, Escambia. Today, we're talking trash, specifically bulk waste.
Starting July 1st, 2023, bulk waste service will be called for pickup. You can schedule a pickup by calling the ECUA Customer Service Department anytime before 2 p.m. on the day prior to your normal pickup day. Bulk pickup is still included at no additional charge.
Check out ecua.fl.gov for more information.
Know what to throw, 850.
Where does energy come from? Where does it go?
At Pensacola Energy, we know that energy transfers from one form to another. Endless hot showers from our natural gas energize you. Your energy inspires others and grows into a positive energy force. Environmentally friendly, reliable, affordable natural gas from Pensacola Energy. We are your energy, Pensacola. For details on rebates, call 850-436-5050 or visit PensacolaEnergy.com.
Sonia Bay's Botanicals is a local wellness boutique that specializes in infused fruit juices, medicinal herbal tea remedies, clean hair and body care, and herbal infused sea moss gels, which can be purchased 1 for $25 or 2 for $40. This sea moss contains 92 of the body's 102 essential minerals used to increase energy, relieve pain and inflammation, and improve blood pressure and more. From parasite cleanse to detox and weight loss to blood sugar control, Sonia Bay's Botanicals has a natural solution for you.
The State Farm Personal Price Plan helps you create an affordable price just for you. Call State Farm agent Arthur Searcy for your personal price plan today.
This is Prayer Perspectives by J.O. Gatson on your WBQP.
Father God in heaven, we've stopped by the way to echo just a few words of prayer, to let you know that we're yet leaning and depending on you. Mama would say, besides you, there is none other. And Father God, we realize there's no other name under the heavens by which we can call upon. And so we just stop by the way to say thank you, Lord, and to give ourselves over unto you. Because times are hard now, dear God. But we know that you will hear our prayer and answer our prayer because you know our ups and downs. You know our heartbeat. And so here we are, Lord. We're giving ourselves over to you as we pray in the belovedness of Jesus, the Christ, our Lord, our Savior. Amen.
This is Prayer Perspectives by J.O. Gatson on your WBQP.
It's time for mornings with Vernon. Yeah. Yeah. Get up now. Come on now. Get up. For mornings with Vernon. Get up now. Let's go. Get up now. Turn it up now. 1, 2, 3. Let's get it now.
All right. Good morning, y'all. You get time for morning for Vernon this morning. Good morning, y'all. Y'all tell everybody. I want to take a few minutes for everybody to be able to get the show. The question is, how do we get your show? Well, again, I just want to just share. The easiest way to do it is to share the link. Okay, share the link. Just download the app. Okay, you got it in the palm of your hand. You can see the show anytime you want to. Very easy. Everybody has a phone, and you're able to get the show on the phone there. We got a couple of apps in the app stores. We got a radio app, and we got a TV app. Okay, we got a radio app and a TV app. So download both the apps, but you can get the show on either app. Okay, it's on either app. Or the easiest way to do is just type in any browser. Just type in rdo.to/WBQP. And it'll bring up the app, and it'll bring up the station, and it'll bring up everything there. So you make sure that you share that with everybody. If you're on Facebook, I want you to be Facebook or YouTube. I want you to be able to share, comment, and like on those social media platforms so that we'll know we are having to get everybody. So it's morning with Vernon, y'all. We are being here for once and for all. Let's talk about some public service kind of stuff as well as some local information, if you will. This is the 53rd year, y'all, of folks that's concerned about stuff like this. Is the 53rd year that they passed the Roe versus Wade decision. So you know about unproductive rights and stuff like that. So if you're concerned about that, you know that after 50 years of Roe versus Wade, this administration had that overturned. The Supreme Court overturned it. So if you're concerned about issues like that, I just want to bring that to your attention there. They're having a locally here. They're having the what they call the One Count Homeless Connect event at the Brownsville Community Center, which is happened to be, I believe, it's next Friday. It's on the 29th. Let me see what is next Friday. I think that is on the next Friday. Is the 29th. I think it's either next Thursday, I believe it is. They're going to have what they call an I Count Homeless Connect event at the Pensacola Brownsville Community Center. It's free to the public, and they're going to have information, get free haircuts, and it's almost like if you ever attended the Gulf Coast Veterans Advocacy Council homeless stand down. It's the same kind of thing. Rather than just being for homeless veterans, this event is very much the same, but it's just for homeless people, period. Okay, and so it's going to be at the center at the Brownsville Community Center. Okay, for the folks that's involved with the county commission meeting, they start today. If you want to go to the county, the BCC, the Board of County Commissioners regular meeting, it starts at 8:30 this morning. I think they're gonna have maybe open forum at 8:30. The meeting at 9 o'clock. However that normally goes. Okay, you're gonna have that. Also, some bit of information about y'all. If you know Mrs. Carrie Rivers, okay, she is the wife of Papa Rock Rivers. Everybody know Papa Rock from WBOP radio back in the day. I remember Papa Rock even when I was a child. We used to listen to Papa Rock out of a station out of Jackson, Mississippi. That's the first time I ever heard of him. Then he went to Mobile and did some stuff in Mobile, and then Pensacola with WBOP, and then subsequent with WRNE. So his widow Carrie, she worked at NAS, but she was in the healthcare field. So she transitioned on yesterday. So we'll get more details about Miss Carrie Rivers as we go along here. The other public service announcement I want to make is that the African American Chamber of the African American Chamber of Commerce had their, you need to put this stuff on your calendar. They had their annual, their monthly social greeting mixer, if you will, on last night, down at Belmont and DeVille, down in the, what used to be what we call the Eddie Todd building. So you might want to keep up that, because if you're in business, you definitely want to attend those mixers and do a lot of networking and so forth, okay? Networking. And speaking of networking, the Pensacola Network is having their monthly event. They hold their monthly event with Robin Richard and Mr. Lloyd Richard. They hold it every Friday. The Pensacola Network every third Friday of every month, which is going to be again tonight at 6:00 p.m. So you may want to go ahead and arrange you to attend that. It's also going to be held down at the Pensacola Eddie Todd building. And when I call it the Eddie Todd building, but you know what I'm talking about. I used to call it the old 506. You know, that used to be the old 506 down there. So don't y'all pretend like you ain't been saved all your life. Well, you know what old 506 is, and you know exactly what I'm talking about. paved 506. But that building, Eddie Todd converted that building into a business complex. So I call it the Eddie Todd building. And so that's where the African American Chamber hold their Thursday and their monthly Thursday night mixer, and where the Pensacola Network also hold their monthly networking event. This I'm trying to remember. Let me see who is going to be the featured guest tonight. I had it in my hand here, but you know, when you let me pull it up right here, because when you're trying to find information, you can never find it. But anyway, it's tonight. It's called A New Beginning and Transformation with Larry Johnson, I believe it is. Larry Johnson, which is the CEO of Shady Oaks Books and Music. Okay, he is going to be the special guest tonight at the Pensacola Network with Robin Richard and Brian Wire. You know, Brian Wire is the chairman and the president of the African American Chamber of Commerce. And those, the one that I said last, that had the meet and greet last night. But the building, again, is Eddie Todd building, which is 321 North Davila Street, Pensacola. If you like I say, if you don't know where North Davila is, just remember it's the old 506, and I think everybody knows that. Also, while I'm on the same subject, Lord Richard holds a startup Pensacola, a startup on the blocks webcast every Thursday night. You need to check that out because he has some very interesting guests on. And in fact, if you miss it, his event, again, we play it right here on WBQP. You can look it up on WBQP if you missed it. But last night, he had Mr. Randy Watson and Ash Miller. They were co-founders, okay, of the Privera event. I can't call the EVS, but they was talking about being coachable and being clever. Why be coachable? Be clever. Being clever. The foundation is ready for advantage. But anyway, they're talking about startup, the best practices on startup. So if you missed that event, you might want to catch it again on WBQP. He holds it every Thursday night. It's a webinar that he does on Thursday night. Okay. We got some other events coming up that I want you to mark your calendar for, which I believe on the 29th of January at 11 a.m. I believe the L.L. Jordan Museum, okay, L.L. Jordan Museum is going to have their essay contest. Remember we talked about the essay contest? He called in the other day and he said he was real proud of it. He said he had more than 10 entries for the essay contest. The essay contest was featured on one of the speeches that Dr. King gave, and the essay contest is also an opportunity to win some money. First prize is going to be $500. Second prize is $300, and the third prize $100. The deadline to submit your submission was on January the 19th. They said they had a great turnout, people, and they're going to be judged. But the event is going to be, put it on your calendar. The event is going to be scheduled for the Saturday 29th at 11 o'clock at the L.L. Jordan Museum. The individuals can get a chance to read their essays. They're going to be judged, and then we're going to determine which are the who get prize one, which is $500. Second prize is $300, and the third prize is $100. And he wanted to pass on to me that one of the interesting things that they found in this essay contest that they had a lot of males to enter. You know, generally females usually are the ones that get in on these events, but this time he said they had a lot of males was interested in applying and their nomination. So it's going to be held at the L.L. Jordan African American Museum, which formerly, if you don't know where it is, like in our community, we always have nicknames for everything. It's called the Pink House. Okay, if you know where the Pink House was, but they was scheduled to write an essay based on one of the quotes out of Dr. King's speeches. And let me read the quote for you that they were going to write an essay around. And this is certainly interesting for you to do. But we want you to come down to the L.L. Jordan Museum to do that. But the quote that they were to be writing about was that the ultimate. This is the quote out of. I believe this came out of his speech from the Birmingham jail, but fact check me on that. But because he's written so many speeches. But the quote that they was going to center their writings around, the essay around, is this quote: "The ultimate tragedy is not the oppression and cruelty by the bad people, but the silence over that by the good people." Okay, that's a direct quote from Dr. Martin Luther King, one of his speeches. And just think about that for a minute. Just think about that for a minute. How relevant that is today. The ultimate tragedy is not the oppression and the cruelty by the bad people. If you think about what's going on in America today, but it's silence over that by the good people. That is absolutely relevant to this very day. Okay, so but in the rate, the essays they're written, it was anywhere between 500 and 700 words, and they're all submitted. They're going to be judged, and they're going to be awarded and read on the 29th at 2423 North C Street, okay, at the L.L. Jordan African American Museum, okay? All righty then. I think other stuff that coming up in the future, y'all want to mark a calendar on, is they're going to have the, what they call a, let me see here. I believe it's the triple. Jill talks about this in her report on Thursday, but you might want to just mark your calendar from March 28th at 11 o'clock. They're going to have what they call the Triple B, the Main Street Triple B. That's barbecue, brews, and bands. Okay, barbecue, blues, and that's what the Triple B stands for. An event in Crestview, Florida, on March 28th. So if you want to register, just go to Eventbrite as well. The African American Chapter James African American Aviation Museum is having their annual program on the second Saturday. We got somebody coming on talking about that as well. Okay, I don't have the flyer. They was going to send me a flyer. I don't see the flyer that they sent me about they having their annual banquet in February. So folks, if you listen to me for the Chapter James Museum, I got a guest coming on next week to talk about that as well. Okay, you're going to be talking about the events that's going on at the African American Museum, okay, and their annual banquet. So you need to go ahead and get your tickets down and get them early, okay, because if you don't get them early, you're going to be locked out. They usually have the event down at the Kareem Jones Center. So just keep that in mind. Plug it into your phone, plug it into your reminder, and we're going to talk about that more as we go along here. Okay. And if you got any events that you want for me to pass on, just text it to me or email it to text it to me at 850-293-5007, 850-293-5007, or you can just email it to me here at WBQP@WBQP.com, or either my personal email address is mr.vernon, that's VERNON, .vw@gmail.com. I prefer my Gmail if we got a WBQPTV@gmail.com, which is make it easier for you. I prefer that you use the Gmail address because some of the graphics, some of your domain address don't always leave you enough time for your graphics, if you will. Okay, for your graphics. And so email always handles a lot of things. Okay. All right, y'all. I'm going to have to take another commercial break, but when we come back, hopefully we are going to be talking about by history. We're going to be talking about the legacy of Dr. King. We got 8:30. We're going to have the sheriff or one of his representatives on. I believe the sheriff is out of town today, and hopefully, if I forgot my schedule right, maybe we'd have Mr. Josh Wallace on. We had him scheduled for today, but I think he had a conflict that we have to reschedule for next week, but I'll double check that one. We're on the break. He is the guy that's in charge. Josh, we say, who is Josh Wallace? Put it down. He's the guy from the city of Pensacola. He doesn't work for the city, but he worked for a contractor that's overseeing the Baptist Hospital project. Okay, but we'll talk about that when we come back. Okay, and I want you to make sure you go out there and y'all make sure that y'all tell everybody. Okay, tell everybody that we're on right now, and if you need to find a way of catching us, just give them that link, and they'll have us. We'll be right back. Y'all, stay tuned.
Looking for a moment of faith, hope, and connection? Join us for Prayer Perspectives by J.O. Gatson, live on WBQP TV and WBQP Radio. Every first Wednesday of the month from 9 to 10 p.m. Call in, share your prayer request, and receive prayer in real time. Mark your calendar starting February 4th. Prayer, Perspective, Power. Only on WBQP TV and WBQP Radio.
It's time for Mornings with Vernon. Yeah. Yeah. Get up now. Come on now. Get up. For Mornings with Vernon. Get up now. Let's go. Get up now. Turn it up now. 1, 2, 3. Let's get it now.
The State Farm Personal Price Plan helps you create an affordable price just for you. Call State Farm agent Arthur Searcy for your personal price plan today.
I remember these. Will I have the money to send my kid to college? Well, that's specific. How long has that been there? 7-letter word for a bank that helps you reach your goals.
Synovus. Order for Synovus?
Thank you.
Are you Synovus?
Yes.
Are you gonna ask or should I?
A solid financial future doesn't happen by chance. Let's talk about your potential today.
Navigating healthcare is hard. Baptist makes it better. With convenient locations, easy scheduling, and skilled, compassionate doctors. All when you need us most. The next time you need care, let Baptist make it better. Baptist Healthcare.
Some mobile companies make it hard to get a good deal. But at Cox Mobile, we know there's a better way to save. A smarter way. That's why we run on the network with unbeatable 5G reliability without breaking the bank. You'll pay as low as $30 per line. It's a win-win. Cox Mobile, the smart way to mobile.
Stash your money somewhere smarter. With 5.05% APY, Pen Air's high yield checking puts your money to work and earning big. Pen Air Credit Union. Join us.
Day or night, your loved ones show up for you. At HCA Florida Healthcare, we do too. Because you're the center of our family, Florida's largest healthcare family. And you'll feel it in everything we do. HCA Florida Healthcare. We show up for you.
Need a new outfit for a special occasion? Look no further than Viola's Men's Apparel. Viola's has been providing the latest styles and accessories in Pensacola for over 20 years now. We have clothes for every occasion, and we offer consultations and group discounts. You can trust that our care, quality, and class will be unmatched. Viola's Men's Apparel, for all of your menswear needs.
This is Prayer Perspectives by J.O. Gatson on your WBQP.
Lord God in heaven, as we come, Mama would say you have been good by us, that you've kept us and spared us and watched over us when we couldn't watch over ourselves. So we stopped by the way to give you thanks and to let you know that we're yet leaning and depending on you for all things. And dear God, you're our source. You're everything to us. And we confess to you right now of our sins, that your keeping power will keep us, that we may be overcomers in these difficult times which we face. Lord God, this is our prayer as we pray in the belovedness of Jesus' name. Our God, our Lord, our Savior, the one that was crucified, in his name we pray. In Jesus' name, amen.
This is Prayer Perspectives by J.O. Gatson on your WBQP.
It's time for Mornings with Vernon. Yeah. Yeah. Get up now. Come on now. Get up. For Mornings with Vernon. Get up now. Let's go. Get up now. Turn it up now. 1, 2, 3. Let's get it now.
All right, y'all. Welcome back to Mornings with Vernon, y'all. Yeah, I was telling you, y'all make sure y'all send me the information directly at 850-293-5007. I was talking about the Chappie James Museum, and send them to WBQP at WBQP.com, either mr.vernon.vw@gmail.com. A listener did send me the information about the Chappie James Museum Gala, that annual gala they hold in February. It's going to be again on February. It's February the 28th, y'all. So mark your calendar for February 28th. It's going to be at Corinne Jones Center, and it's going to be starting at 5 o'clock. They do this every year. That's their their fundraiser every year. The Chappie James, for the Chappie James Museum. So I want them to. I know a lot of you posted stuff on Facebook and stuff like that. So didn't you see it on Facebook? Hell no, I didn't see it on Facebook, because I don't have time to cruise Facebook like that all the time. So if you want me to help you, you got to help me, okay? Help me so you can get it out, so we can send the information on out to everybody. You know, February is Black History Month, y'all. We just wrapped up the parade. And speaking of that, while I'm talking about the parade, well, we're going to be airing the parade again tonight on WBQP, starting around the 6 o'clock time frame. Hopefully we're going to be airing all of the parades that we did around town and some of the events that we've done tonight and tomorrow night on WBQP. Also for the folks that look at Blab TV, I don't have the schedule as I speak on what the schedule is from Blab TV, but I do know tonight and tomorrow night you will be able to see the parades, the Pensacola Parade, the Cantonment Parade, and some of the events that we have, like the prayer breakfast. We're going to be airing the prayer breakfast. We are also going to be airing the religious service and so forth, and the Legacy Ball it's Saturday night. So we got about 3 or 4 things on the agenda that we're going to be doing here on WBQP. So you have to make sure that you stay tuned and check it out and pass the word on to everybody on how to get WBQP TV and WBQP radio. Now, on how you get the radio station right now, we temporarily, y'all, are broadcasting on 97.1, okay? And that was kind of a gift that was given to us because the staff and management of 97.1 radio is having some technical issues with their on air. And so they was kind enough to say, well, why don't you use our air times instead of then listen to dead air? We will listen to WBQP radio. So that is probably not going to be a permanent fixture on 97.1, but we're thankful while we're there. And how long we're going to be there, as Dr. King probably said, long, but probably not long. But at least you get a preview of what this program is all about if you listen to your radio. But that don't mean that even though we're not going to be over there, we are applying for our own radio designation, but that takes some time to do that, okay? That takes some time, so don't look for that no time soon, because that's a long, drawn-out process, but that never stop you. You can always listen to it anywhere and everywhere. If you got Alexa, for an example, if you got Alexa, if you can listen at it just like you do your radio. Instead of having your radio on, put on Alexa. Just tell her. The first thing you have to do with Alexa, though, is that, and I have to tell you this, and you tell everybody, you have to enable the Alexa skill into your Alexa device, okay? She's just not going to know that we're there until you tell her. Like any AI program or any computerized program, you think they're smart, but they're really dumb. So they only are able to do what you tell them to do. So you have to go in and tell Alexa to enable the WBQP skill in it. It's no different than if you was adding a security camera to your Alexa account, or you're having your TV set to it, or you're adding or your Bluetooth to it. You just have to go in and tell Alexa to add that to your account. So when you listen at Alexa, just tell Alexa, and I think she would do it for you if you tell her. If not, you just go on your phone, because you got an Alexa app in your phone, and just go on your phone. But you got to be somewhere near your Alexa to do this, if I understand it. Go on your phone and just go to the skills section in your Alexa app and click on that skills section and says add WBQP radio, okay? Just add you don't have to say radio, just says add WBQP. And she will add WBQP skill to the Alexa device. And then from there on, the only thing you need to do is just say, Alexa, play WBQP. Alexa, play WBQP. She's on it. She's on top of it. And you can listen at us 24/7 inside of your house, inside of your bedroom. I got 2 or 3 Alexas in the house. One in my main family room. I got one in my bedroom. In fact, I got an Alexa in my family room. You know, some of them got displays. You can get a little round one that without a display, or you can get one with a display. But the ones that I have with a display, and I use it as an alarm clock. Okay, instead of it showing Alexa, it showed me the time and stuff like that. And I can talk to it, and she'll set the alarms for me, and she could turn my lamps on and off, and turn the TV on and off. I said, Alexa, turn the TV on. Da-da-da-da. Alexa, change the channel to this. Okay, she'll do that. Alexa, turn the lamp on. Okay, Alexa, do that. And in the same time, Alexa set the alarm for me to get up at 5:45 in the morning. You know, Alexa is great at doing stuff. Okay, but the old heifer ain't all that smart, if you ask me. You start asking the educational questions, she might get it and she might not. Okay, and but Google is good if you want to know information stuff. If you want to know the history of anything, try Google or Gemini. Google and Gemini are good at answering your questions about stuff like that. Alexa's good about doing things for you. So anyway, you got Alexa. Also, we're also available on CarPlay. What CarPlay means is that you just go on your app again. Just go on your app. And one of the things I want to mention to you about CarPlay. Okay. I know you travel a lot, right? People travels a lot, right? And you got what you call, if you got an Android phone like this, it's called Auto and Android Auto. If you got an iPhone, it's called iPhone CarPlay. I believe that's what it's called. But the value of that is that you can listen to whatever you got on your phone through your car system, and not necessarily through the Bluetooth, not Bluetooth in your stuff, but you can listen to it. They got and you can listen to all of the apps on it. But just download the app, 2 apps when you on your CarPlay that you want to do. Okay, and I'm recommending this because it's amazing how this works. But on your CarPlay, there's 2 apps that I recommend that you put on there. There's a navigational app called, is it called Maze? What is it called? Download the WBQP app and the navigation app called, let me see, navigation apps. Wave, W-A-Z-E. This app here, okay? With your CarPlay, see, it don't want to act right. In your CarPlay, this is the app that you want to download. Now, whether or not you have a navigation system in your car, you know, we got these fancy cars, and we spend a lot of fancy money on these navigation systems. You know, $2,000 or $3,000. That's $2,000 or $3,000 options on most cars have. This app here is a navigation app, which is free. Okay, which is free, and you want to make sure this app is downloaded on your CarPlay or your Android Auto. Okay, this app here give you live traffic information as you travel. You know, not only does it give you a navigation system, you can talk to it just like you can talk to your navigation system that you paid for. Okay, tell it to go anywhere, it'll navigate for you, and it's more accurate, a lot more accurate than your built-in navigation system that you bought. If you got a car that's probably 2 or 3 years old, the navigation system has to be updated, and sometimes they charge you to update. I got a Mercedes, right? And in order for me to, my Mercedes navigation system is outdated, but they want me to pay for me to update the navigation system. Okay, these systems here is free. I don't do it. Only thing I do is download this app here. We just call it Wave, and I open that app and I plug it into my car, and you don't even have to plug it in anymore. It's wireless.
Speed bumps ahead.
And it will see how I talk about speed bumps ahead and railroad tracks ahead, car. It'll tell you everything that's going on the road. It's one of the amazing things I've ever seen in my life. You remember back in the day when we had the CB radio and we had to depend on, hey, good buddy, 10-4, what, is Smokey up the road there and stuff like that. You remember those days? Well, this is very similar to that, but it's more sophisticated than that because people reports everything to Wade. And if you don't believe it works, get it. And when next time you travel, you get it. And you will not travel without it ever. If there traffic ahead, and Wade will tell you traffic is backed up, you might want to take a different route here. Or if an item in the road, they were there. If a car is parked over on the side of the road, broke down, okay, it would tell you that, and you would amazing say it would say car on the side of the road, and when you get there, sure enough, at a certain mile marker, you get there, sure enough, it's there, and it's an amazing thing. And the best part about it, okay, it will warn you about police. You know, it'll let you know police ahead, just like we did in the CB days, right? People could report it because what happened is we got real time stuff, and people report that. And so if you're doing 80, 90 miles an hour and they're gonna come over and say police ahead at mile marker this, it will tell you that. So get this app. You need to get that app called Wade, WAZE, that app, and the WBQP app. And the reason you want to get both those apps is because in any other app, because app is an app. If you don't want to listen to WBQP, I don't understand why you wouldn't want to do that. But you can download any app that you want to, and you can still play it, and you can still use your navigation system as you normally do. Okay, and it will, just like any other navigation system, your navigation will override your music and let you know what's going on, and then it'll get back to it and give you your direction, your turn, your right turn, left turn, or any hazards in the road, and the police ahead, whatever the case may be, it will warn you. So you definitely may want to take advantage of that. But I said all that to say, when you do that, download the WBQP app. If you're traveling across the country, you can, right now, if you listen to the radio, 97.1, if you drive out of the range of it, then you lost it. Okay, so you're out of the range for the FM. But if you had it on CarPlay, you would never drive out of the range of it because it's a nationwide thing. You can look at it from that perspective. Okay, let me get off that subject and get on to the subject that we was going to be talking about at hand, and that is Black History, y'all. Black History Month is coming up, and we want you to learn something about your heritage, okay? And all week we have been playing events and history with Dr. Henry Gates. And one of the events I want to play with Dr. Henry Gates is, since we are still talking about and celebrating the events of Dr. Martin Luther King, one of the last things that Dr. King had planned and was doing before his untimely death was that he had planned to do a poor people march, a poor people campaign, similar to the one that he did back in the 60s, in 1963, when he went to Washington. Now, and some suggest that it probably was one of the two things that got him assassinated, is organizing a poor people's campaign. And you might think that's crazy. Why would that be? Well, folks, I have to tell you, and I have to agree with Bernie Sanders on this. The rich people in this country control everything, and that's include the poor people. Okay, only about 3% of the United States is controlled 97% of the United States. Okay, what I mean about that, the wealth of this country is owned by 3% of Americans, okay? 3% of Americans own 97%, okay, of all the wealth in this country. Okay, they own 97% of all the wealth in this country. So we as a country, as a whole, poor folks, middle class folks, we only got 3% of the share of this country. But what we don't know is that we have the power. They know that we got the power, but as long as they keep us asleep, they can control, their 3% can control the 97%. They never want the 97% to control the 3%. That's what this fight is all about. It's about money. It's about power. And y'all need to understand that. Okay. Now, one of the things that Dr. King realized early on, and he was talking, if you read the history of Dr. King, when they were put in jail, in particular when they were put in the Birmingham jail and those kind of things, he said he interacted with the jailers. They didn't call them correction officers back then. They called them jailers and deputies and stuff like that. And they was talking, and what Dr. King realized, and they realized too, that, well, the jailers were no better off than black folks. They making minimum wage. They were struggling, but yet they was helping their oppressors to oppress people just like them. Okay. And so what Dr. King decided, we need to wake up. Okay? We need to wake up. We need to, because it is more about caste and class in this country as much as it is about race in this country. It's the rich versus the poor, rather than the white versus the black. We got that element, but the more pressing problem is that the rich versus the poor. We got a class system here, okay? We got poor folks, middle class folks, and rich folks. 3% of the world, 3% of Americans are what we call super rich people, okay, that control all of the middle class and the lower class. Well, Dr. King wanted to right that wrong. And so he decided to do what they call a poor people's campaign that I think that helped contribute to his death. Because we don't want him to wake up the masses. We want him to poke the bear. We don't want him to poke the bear. And so in with that, then he also spoke out against the Vietnam War, which didn't sit well with a lot of folks as well. But at any rate, since it's Black History, I'm going to play a segment from Dr. Henry Gates reporting about, he one of the foremost people that talks about Black history and race and genealogy and stuff in this country. So he had a segment that we talked about the Poor People's Campaign. So I'm going to play that as well, okay? So stay tuned here.
In 1967, the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. expanded the civil rights movement with his call for an economic revolution that included full employment and health care for the poorest Americans. He would call his movement the Poor People's Campaign.
The Poor People's Campaign is an extraordinary effort to bring poor people who are Native American, Mexican American, whites, and blacks to camp in Washington until there's real anti-poverty legislation passed.
Tragically, Dr. King wouldn't live to see the campaign through, but it resumed under the leadership of his grieving friend and advisor, the Reverend Ralph Abernathy. And on May 12, 1968, Mother's Day, thousands of women led by Dr. King's widow, Coretta Scott King, formed the first wave of demonstrators. In the days that followed, thousands more joined them. Together, they built a temporary settlement of tents on the Mall in Washington, D.C. They called it Resurrection City.
It rained so much. I should never forget. It was such a rainy, saga period which kind of compounded our spiritual crisis.
You have some 20,000 or so people who rally in the nation's capital. 5,000 or so will remain in Resurrection City, and their intention is to stay until Congress does something.
Midway through the campaign, demonstrators suffered another painful blow: the loss of a valuable ally.
In the middle of all that, compounded by the loss of Dr. King, we get the word Robert Kennedy just been shot.
Out of respect for the campaign and Dr. King's memory, Robert Kennedy's funeral procession passed through Resurrection City. 3 weeks later, the permit to use parkland expired, and Resurrection City was closed. The campaign succeeded in some ways, securing subsidized school lunches in poverty-stricken counties, for example, and acquiring additional funding for programs that promote school readiness for low-income children. But Dr. King had envisioned sweeping, revolutionary economic changes which have not yet been realized. And so the fight continues, revived in 2013 under the leadership of the Reverend William J. Barber II.
We must bring poor people together, black, white, and Latino, Christian, Muslim, Jew, gay, lesbian, straight, around the Poor People's Campaign, a moral fusion movement. We are going forward together and not taking one step back.
We're talking about, let me turn my my monitor off so I don't get any feedback, but that was the gist of the Poor People's Campaign that was initiated by Dr. Martin Luther King, which he never saw a fruition of, and as they were saying, it was fraught with issues and problems as well. So it's just one of the things that we saw that it was one of the issues that this country don't want you to know, okay? Just don't want you to know about. A lot of Black history has been denied and been hidden in this country that you probably need to know about. So folks, because of the attack on Black history today, it's going to be up and coming on us to educate our people about Black history, things that you didn't know about Black history. One of the things that I want you to understand too is that we had Dr. King led a non-violent movement, okay? And at the same time, you had people also was advocating violence in a sense that it was the way to achieve the objective. They wasn't advocating violence, but they did not subscribe to the nonviolent movement that Dr. King was doing. Dr. King movement, just for lack of a better analogy, was to, if you slap my face, I'll turn the other cheek. Well, a couple people did not subscribe to that. People like the Black Panthers, the people like H. Rap Brown, that was hollering "Burn, baby, burn," stuff like that. They saw that that wasn't the way. We need some action. Also, people like Malcolm X, they said they don't advocate violence, but they wanted to say that we should defend ourselves as well. So that was a controversy between the two philosophers, between MLK and Malcolm, to Malcolm X as well. So Malcolm X, in his own right, has a lot of Black history. And his birthday is coming up as well. And we're going to talk a little bit about the life and legacy of Malcolm X and the impact that he had on the civil rights movement. And in fact, I want to play a little bit about, so if you don't know about Malcolm X, you will know about it. I think Dr. Gates did another 2-minute version on Malcolm X and his impact on the civil rights movement. So here we go.
Malcolm X's strident critique of the nonviolent philosophy of the civil rights movement sowed the seeds for the flowering of black nationalism in the second half of the 1960s. Malcolm spent his youth in northern and midwestern cities, but he was profoundly transformed in prison when he joined the Nation of Islam, a religious movement led by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. It combined black nationalism with the Islamic faith and embraced the concept of black self-defense.
Malcolm X realized that while Martin Luther King was preaching nonviolence and peace, you had to send a message. He was a warrior, he was a general, and they feared him.
Malcolm encouraged his followers to achieve empowerment
by any means necessary. We intend to fire our people up so much until if they can't have their equal share in the house, they'll burn it down.
Dr. King felt that Malcolm's talk of violence was counterproductive and ultimately would, quote, reap nothing but grief.
The Negroes themselves should take whatever steps necessary to defend themselves.
Malcolm X's influence was profound in terms of the way African Americans looked at themselves and the way that the nation began to look at them. It called for black dignity, black self-respect.
Malcolm was adamant that words associated with slavery, such as Negro and colored, should be discarded for black and Afro-American. His theories and his philosophy formed the foundation of the ideology of black power.
Malcolm X is the key common denominator for all black power activists. They use his speeches, they use his political thought, both in the Nation of Islam and outside of the Nation of Islam, as a sort of blueprint or framework for their own political activism.
The tensions that had been building between Elijah Muhammad and Malcolm reached a breaking point after Malcolm made a controversial comment following the assassination of President John F. Kennedy, leading to a bitter split. Facing a spiritual crisis, Malcolm turned inward, dedicating much of his time to learning more about his faith, including undertaking the Muslims' sacred pilgrimage to Mecca. Tragically, members of the Nation of Islam would assassinate Malcolm before his new philosophy could gain momentum. But his autobiography would become a key text of the Black Revolution, and it remains a key part of the American literary canon today. From Chuck D of Public Enemy to President Barack Obama, Malcolm X's bold and resonant voice has inspired generations to fight the power. Through his writings and speeches, Malcolm's message to black people to take control of their own destiny lives on.
Okay, let me bring myself back on. Okay, now that was the difference in the philosophies of Dr. Martin Luther King with the nonviolent movement and those of Malcolm X is by achieving this goal by any means necessary. We can debate who's right or wrong for centuries here, but the bottom line is that one would say that violence begat violence, and that goes to improving the fact that Malcolm X was, some will believe he was exciting violence, but however, and if you live by the sword, would die by the sword. In fact, he was assassinated as well in 1965. Well, that may have well be true, but again, it was Dr. King, which also preached nonviolent, but he also met a violent death. So you can weigh whatever you want to weigh on what you think was the best philosophy. But one of the things that is also debated is that we had from 1955 until, say, 1965, with the nonviolent movement were led by Dr. King versus the the violent movement from 65 to 68, which resulted into a series of riots around the country. And some folk would argue that because the riots in 65, 66, and 67 timeframe achieved way more immediate results in our civil rights than the 10 years preceding them with nonviolence. So you do your history of it, okay? Do your history of it, and you determine for yourself what the answer is. My position is that you only is that you got three sides to a story, okay? You got my side, your side, and the truth. So what we try to do is present both sides of the story, and you make your own decision and come to your own conclusions on how you determine your philosophy of life. But hey, that's the only thing we want you to do is just listen to both sides of the story. Don't just take one position and run with it, even though that position may be right and may not be right. But listen to the other side, because there's a reason why the other side is saying what they were saying and believe what they believe. And there may be some truth into it. But as my grandmother always say, this, it's your side, my side, and the truth. And so you determine what your truth is, okay? And so with the history of Black history, we got a lot of learning to do, and it's incumbent upon you with the attacks on banning the books and so forth. Just remember that even before we had Black histories, even in our curriculum, we still have to know about Black history. You do what your African ancestry did. History can be passed down orally. The griots was great at passing down oral history, as well as in all the world. Before we had written records, how do we know about history? Because it's been passed down from generations to generations to generations, and that's what we continue to do. So don't forget, Black History Month is coming up, and we just don't want to practice Black history during the month of February. We want to Black history throughout the year. Okay. All right. It's about 8:30 time frame when we have Sheriff Chip Simmons on. I believe Chip is out of town today, but he's been represented, y'all, by his able-bodied Sergeant Hobbs here. Andrew Hobbs, good morning. How you doing this morning?
Good morning. How are you, sir?
Let me put my headphones on so I can hear you, okay? Go ahead. How you doing this morning?
I'm doing well. How about you?
I am well. Thank you for coming on. Chip told me that you got to fill his shoes this morning.
Those are shoes that I could never fill, but I'll sure try.
All righty. What's going on in and around Escambia County law enforcement is concerned?
We're out here just trying to reach our community everywhere we can. We're out there protecting and serving. Community engagement and enforcement like this community's never seen, like Sheriff Simmons always says. We have a lot of things going on. We're getting ready to coming into February with Mardi Gras and the parades we're going to do. We have a Male Blazer Academy coming up. We have a Dream Big coming up in the month of February. So we have a lot of things we're going to be doing in February. Need us, and we strive for that every day.
Oh, very good. Very good. I had a question to ask you about something that went on this week, but I can't remember exactly what it was. It recorded law enforcement, but I can't remember what it was. But it'll come back to you. Listen, Chief Hobbs, when you get old like me, memory gonna be the second thing that goes. So I can't even remember first thing. So don't get old now, okay?
Hey, I will tell you this: I'm 46 now, and there's days that I wake up. I've got two young children. I've got a 5-year-old and a 9-year-old, and they'll remind me of something I said a week ago, and I could not remember to save my life. So I understand that. My son reminded me this morning. We have his first flag football game tonight. I found out last night that I'll be coaching the offense. I did not know that until last night at about 8:30. So I was working on plays all night that a 9-year-old might understand. So that was a bit problematic. And then he reminded me of 5 other things I was supposed to do, and I literally would not have remembered any of them. So I do understand that for sure.
Something I was going to ask you that was happening in and around law enforcement, a question, but I can't remember exactly what it was. I thought about it this week, and I said, I'm going to have to talk to Chip about this, but it'll eventually come back. It'll eventually come back to me. I know one of the things we talked about last week, and it was looking for that child. Was any results of that yet? They found that child?
Oh yeah, the child that was taken by her mother went up to Alabama. Yes, we have located that child. The mother's in custody, but we located that child up in Alabama, central Alabama, last week.
Okay, good. And we talked about also that people impersonating law enforcement officers. Was that guy ever found?
I do not think we had one going on in north of Scambia, and then they had one over in Alabama was doing over in Mobile was doing about the same thing. I'd have to check on that investigation. I'm not really sure if we've located them. I know that they were working on it tirelessly, trying to. We were getting a bunch of leads. That's what happens when you have a great relationship with your community. You put something out there, and everybody wants to call and help you. Some of them are helpful, some of them are not so helpful. But every lead we get, so I'll check on that. I can get back with you on that. But I do know Mobile was having one. I saw it last night on social media. Mobile had a blue pickup truck that was doing about the same thing. And we talk about that a lot in our neighborhood watch academies, when we go out there and speak to the community, that if you start getting pulled over by a car that is not a marked patrol car, like myself and the sheriff, we drive around unmarked expeditions. Now they've got a ton of lights in them. They're clearly police cars. But if you feel uncomfortable, get to a lit up area and then pull over. You can always call our dispatch and say, I'm being pulled over. Is this really a police officer? You don't have to put yourself in a bad spot, and you don't have to put the law enforcement officer in a bad spot. And we talk to our officers that if they're in unmarked vehicles, there might be some apprehension from people when they get pulled over, especially at nighttime. I wouldn't want my wife or my child getting pulled over by a car that is not clearly marked as a police car without them feeling comfortable. Pull into a parking lot, pull into a lit up area, pull into a gas station, pull into places where there's people. And then when the person comes out, if they're fully uniformed and they're one of us, then that makes sense. I do traffic stops on a regular on my way home or on my way to work when people are driving like idiots. I'll pull them over. I introduce myself, but I'm in full uniform. But we have to be mindful in today's society that we have people who live among us that are stupid, that do stupid things, that are do things for the wrong reasons. And we have to be careful. And again, I tell everybody that if my wife was getting pulled over by a car that was not marked and was an unmarked vehicle, and the person steps out and is not in uniform or any markings of saying they're law enforcement, they need to question that. And if my wife gets in trouble for that, I will have her back 100%, because I don't want anyone to have an interaction with law enforcement where they feel they don't know that they're clearly law enforcement.
Okay. Well, I got a question. Somebody asked me to pass this on about when they pulled over, are they allowed to, when the officer said, "Can I search your car?" What are their rights in that respect?
You have the right to say no. Unless that officer has articulable reasons why, then they can search the vehicle. But if they just get out and they're like, "Hey, how are you doing today?" I would do this. I'd be like, "I'm Chief Deputy Andy Hobbs with the Escambia County Sheriff's Office. The reason why I pulled you over today is because A, B, and C." And while we're talking, if for some reason, if I had an articulable reason to say, "Do you have anything in your car that might get you in trouble?" And the person says no. And they say, "Well, do you mind if I search?" You have the legal right, if you so choose, to say no.
Right.
If you don't, and if there's and they can bring a dog, and if a dog alerts on the car for drugs or things like that, then that changes it a little bit. But if you don't have drugs or anything like that in your car that a dog is going to hit on, or if there's nothing in clear view, then you have the right. You always have the right not to incriminate yourself. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. It is right there in the when you read your rights. So yeah, you don't have to give a law enforcement officer approval to just search your car for no reason. People shouldn't have to worry about that. People shouldn't have to be worried about you're driving down the street, a deputy pulls you over and says, "Hey, I want to search your car." Well, there needs to be some more articulable facts to that. And now, if they have articulable facts, then they have the right to search your vehicle. But if they don't, and they're just asking for the right to, you can make that choice. You choose if you want to give up that right to search and seizure. That's your decision.
Yeah. Well, the decision, what I want folks to understand is that I know sometimes deputies has the discretion. And so some people look at it and say, well, I told them they couldn't search my car, but they harassed me and they called for a dog to search it and then dog alert on it. But one of the things I want to caution people on, Chief Hobbs, that I don't understand that people that smoke marijuana and stuff like this, they're so nose blind to the scent on them that I can smell it a mile away. You know, they can try to mask it with spray and stuff like that. You can smell it a mile away, and that's a red alert. And I'm telling folks all the time, if you're gonna you better be careful when you're driving around, because you roll that window down, somebody else gonna be able to smell that stuff on you, and that causes you to get your car searched. But I noticed one thing about the crime: a lot of crimes get resolved because of traffic stops. And if you're going to do, and I never understood about criminals, well, I said this the other day on the show, I guess if you're a criminal, you just can't help being a criminal. But if you're going to violate the law, chances are driving is just one of those violations. If I were going to rob a bank, I probably going to go 90 miles an hour through the city to get pulled over by a traffic cop and then get busted for robbing a bank. But criminals are not that smart, I guess. Help me out here.
Yeah, you're right. Well, in a lot of violent crimes, let's just talk about violent crimes, shooting, it's like that. A vehicle's normally used to get to A to B. They're not going to walk there to shoot somebody. They're going to drive over there to shoot somebody. And the weed smell. Now, weed by itself nowadays is not just a reason to search someone's vehicle, because you can have a license even though you're not supposed to be smoking while you're driving. You're not supposed to be consuming marijuana. It's just like alcohol while you're driving. That's a part of your license. But yeah, the other day I was driving down the road and this person rolled down their window and they must have been smoking a whole pound of it in there, because that thing just come billowing out and it would inundated my car. I was like, goodness, how are you even driving? You must have a headache. But a lot of traffic stops stop violent crimes or robberies, burglaries at night, when there's people driving around burglarizing our neighborhoods, doing the door checks and things like that. They're driving around in vehicles, and those stops that we do at night sometimes lead to criminals being captured. You're absolutely right when you talk about the importance of traffic stops. But that's why we train professional traffic stops here at the sheriff's office. They're going to do it the exact same way. That's why we have our own academy now. We train them just like I told you right there. They're going to say, good afternoon, good day, good evening. My name is Deputy such and such. The reason why I pulled you over is such and such, so that you know who you're talking to and you know the reason why you got pulled over. Now, I've done this now 23 and a half years, and I've done a lot of traffic stops. And I will say that the interaction I have with the people in traffic stops really depends on them. If they start acting a fool because they know they got something in the car, that traffic stop's not going to go great. If you got something in the car and it's nothing crazy and you're being a good person, say, hey, I made a mistake, we can work on that. There's discretion there about that. If it's not a felony, there's discretion on the law enforcement stand. If you don't have a driver's license, because that's a big one, you'll get a lot of time, more than you get for other things, because the state has it set up that way. If you don't have a driver's license, if you're a habitual traffic offender, you got to go to jail. That's not on us. That's the state telling us you got to go to jail. So if you don't have a driver's license, then just say you don't have a driver's license. Let's not be stupid and play all these games and cause the interaction to ramp up. We can be pleasant to each other even if you're going to jail. I understand jail is not a pleasant situation, but if we speak to each other with respect and we respect each other, our law enforcement officers are trained. Just because someone's doing something bad doesn't mean they're a bad person. It could just be a bad situation.
Yeah.
I grew up in Pensacola, and every trailer park Pensacola has to offer. And I have a lot of friends who've done a lot of bad things and done criminal acts. Now we don't hang out. We don't hang out like we did when we were kids or anything. But if I see them, I'm gonna hug them. I'm gonna tell them I love them. I ain't seen you in a minute. How are things going? We're gonna have those conversations. Just because you've done something stupid when you were a teenager or in your 20s doesn't mean you're a bad person. Just means you did something stupid. Unless you did like killed somebody or did other things, then you're just kind of I struggle with you may not be a good person if you take someone else's life or if you victimize children or women. I struggle with that. Those are things. But if you sold drugs or stole a car, things like that, you might have been in a situation where you made bad choices, but it doesn't make you a bad person. And our deputies are trained like that. Our deputies are understanding that just because you're involved in someone's life in that moment, if we're going to a disturbance or we're going to a call people arguing and things like that, it's the job of our deputies to be a lighthouse in their storm. That may be the worst day those people are having. When we pull somebody over, you don't know what they just going through. You don't know if they've just lost their jobs. You don't know if their child has just gotten sick. You don't know. And it's your job to try to be that calming force while you're there. Now, sometimes people don't allow us to do that. And sometimes we have bad days. There's deputies. I tell everybody, we have almost 500 sworn. There's going to be a time that you get a deputy that's not their best day. You don't know what they just dealt with, and they don't know what you just dealt with. So sometimes that conflict occurs. But I will tell you that here at the sheriff's office, Sheriff Chip Simmons has courtesy, integrity, and professionalism. And we hold that every day. And if our deputies fail that, we address that immediately. So a lot of interactions that deputies have with citizens, the citizens are going to dictate how that goes. Just like you're talking about, you've been smoking a half a pound of marijuana in that car while you're driving down the road. You've got a gun in the car. You got stuff in the car, or you don't have a driver's license. How about just be forthcoming? How about say, hey, I got a bad situation here, da-da-da. It doesn't have to be a negative interaction with law enforcement just because we're on two sides of the rules. Yeah. It can be a respectful interaction. Because either way, if you've committed a crime of a felony or a misdemeanor that we can't get around, you're going to go to jail. Wouldn't you rather go to jail with respect and dignity than have to go to jail with all these other charges added to you? And that's what I always try to tell people when I'm on the side of the road, especially now at my rank now. If I pull you over, the day's not going well for you. You've clearly driven like an idiot or something if I'm pulling you over or the sheriff. The other week, the sheriff and I pulled somebody over. The look on their face when the sheriff came to their door, they were like, huh? Well, you were driving like an idiot. We had to stop you. But I always tell people, and even when I was a field training officer on patrol and things like that, I would tell them, hey, clearly you're upset about the interaction we're having here because of something that's going on. How it goes from here is up to you. We can make this respectful and professional, or we can go down a different road. Either way, both those roads, if you've done a crime, lead to jail. Yeah. It's just how you get there. It just depends on how we get there. We get there together, working together to figure out how we can undo it, or we go the other way.
Well, the old famous saying, the easy way or the hard way.
Yeah, either way, we going down that road. We just got to figure out which way we're going to get there.
Well, let me ask you this. With this new open carry law, I ought to be real fearful. How you all handling that? And how should the people that carrying weapon openly, what are the rules of the road with that situation?
Well, I mean, the state of Florida has said constitutionally people can carry open firearms. I will tell you this, that we have not had a large issue here in Escambia County with it. We haven't had some of the issues other areas have had. And I think it's the stance that we've taken, the sheriff has taken. The sheriff has made it clear, if you can legally carry a gun, we're not going to bother you. You're going to be able to do those things, and you're going to be able to not worry about us. So we haven't had some of the problems that other areas have. There was other areas that were pushing back a bit. So there was people testing that. I will say that on a couple of occasions while I was in uniform, I have had interaction with people that were openly carrying a weapon. And as long as they don't touch theirs, I'm not touching mine. You know what I'm saying? We can have a conversation. As long as you're not grabbing a hold of it and swailing it around in the air, you have that legal right to have it. And so I think that honesty, open, honest dialogue. If I pull over a car just like the other day, I was on a vacation and I got pulled over in another state. He said I was speeding. I'm not sure I was, but he probably was right. He probably had me at speeding. But as soon as he walked up, I informed him that I had a firearm to my right side because I carry a weapon off duty. And I think and he said, okay, where's it at? And I told him, he said, okay, thank you. Just don't touch it. Great. I won't touch it. You don't touch yours. We won't touch each other. No guns will be touched. It'll be a great day. So I think that open, honest dialogue, if you get pulled over in a car and you have a gun on your hip, just let the officer know, hey, I have a firearm on my right side. And they're going to say, okay, great. We expect pretty much every vehicle we pull over that someone has a gun in it. It's when you start reaching under seats, it's when you start doing crazy stuff that it elevates the interaction. But if I tell you right off the bat, hey, I have a firearm on my right-hand side and I'm keeping my hands on the steering wheel, then we shouldn't have any problems. I shouldn't have a problem with you. You shouldn't have a problem with me, and we should be good. When you're walking in public, as long as you have the constitutional right, as long as it's not a private property. Now, a private property owner can say, I don't want that on my property. Right. So they have the right to say no. And if they say no, then you need to decide, I'm going to not go in there, or I'm going to go out my car, put my gun up in a safe area and come back inside. Those would be the only real interactions we've had, is that private business. The
question I have is that, because it really creates problems for me, if you got a right to carry it open arms, if you're not like Wyatt Earp and you don't have a holster for your gun, if you carry it in your hand, wouldn't that present some problems? Because you just don't know what that person got. How do they? Two questions for you. How should one carry an open, obviously, arm in public? And then how should they carry it in their car? I'm talking about on the person and in their car.
Okay, on your persons, I would say it needs to be in a holster. Now, if you're walking down the street with a gun in your hand, you're gonna have to get interaction with law enforcement. People are gonna be calling about you. If you walk down the street in the society we live today, with all the things we see on the media every day, you're walking down the street with a rifle or a handgun, deputies are gonna get out and talk to you. You shouldn't be surprised. Now, legally you can do that, but we're gonna come and talk to you about it. I think that if you are a common sense business or gun owner, you're going to know you put it in a holster for your safety. You don't want to be tucking it in your shirt. It falls out, it hits the ground, it goes off, something crazy like that. So you need to have it in a holster. I don't, unless I'm in uniform, I don't carry an open gun. Like if I'm in uniform, of course, I have a gun on my hip. But if I'm off duty, I have a gun on me, but it is concealed. I do not have it open because I don't want people to know. Bad guys, if they're going to do something bad, you don't want them to know you got a gun. You can react a little quicker if they don't know. In a car, you have the right to carry it wherever you want to in a car. I would say you should have it securely encased. I just don't like a gun rolling around in the seats. Like I know some people put a gun underneath their seat. Well, if it's just underneath your seat and you hit your brakes, it flies forward. It can do things like that. It's not safe. So I think that you should have it in an area where you could get if you need to. The glove compartment, center console. I personally keep mine in a center console or to the left of me in the area where it holds, where you can put stuff at. My gun's in a holster. My gun's always in a holster. If it's on me or off me, it's in a holster because it just secures it. And it's if we've been given this right by the state and by the United States to open carry or carry weapons, we should do it in a manner that's common sense, that you're not doing something stupid. If you're doing something with a firearm stupid, you're looking to have an engagement with law enforcement. Honestly, you're looking, and you're just not being a good neighbor at that point. If you're doing something stupid, I tell everybody, if you're doing something stupid, whatever that stupid is, you're not being a good neighbor.
Two other questions now. If you choose to conceal it, put it in your pocket or put it in your waistband or whatever, you have to have a concealed carry license to do that, right? That's number one question. Number two question is that your right to have it only extend to the state of Florida. We're only 2 or 3 miles from Alabama. You cross over in Alabama, you may not have the right to carry it open in Alabama. Am I right? Clear me up on those two issues.
That's absolutely right. I tell everybody that you should you should have a concealed weapons permit if you're not in law enforcement. Law enforcement doesn't have to have a concealed weapons permit to carry anywhere in the 50 states except, I think, DC. So we're a little different, but all of my family members who are not law enforcement, I tell them if they want to carry a weapon in their vehicle or on their persons into other states, they should have a concealed weapon because a lot of those don't have constitutional carry. I also tell people you should have a concealed weapons permit because it makes you do a gun safety course. You have to do a gun safety course. And it also, if you want to buy a firearm, you don't have the 3-day waiting period. Still in the state of Florida, if you don't have a concealed weapons permit, you have to do a 3-day waiting period to get your gun. If you have that, you don't have to do that. Also, you can have the freedom to go anywhere you want to go with that gun concealed if you have the concealed weapon permit. So I think that if you're a person who travels a lot, if you want to buy firearms earlier, quicker, and if you just want that extra comfort, that you should get a concealed weapons permit. I'm telling you, I get that question. Literally, I got that question from my neighbor the other day. I'm out front playing football with my son Granger, and he walks up and he's like, "Hey, I'm not sure I'm going to re-up my concealed weapons permit." I said, "Well, you don't have to, but I would suggest you do that because," and I laid it all out. I said, "It just protects you when you travel. It protects you from having a knowledge base of how to use your gun." Because just because you go buy a firearm tomorrow and you say, "Hey, I can carry a gun because it says I can," that doesn't mean you should. It means you should be proficient in that use of that firearm because we've had people sadly that tuck guns in the front of their shirt and they pull it out, and when they pull it out, it shoots themselves on accident. Now you got to deal with them, and and that's embarrassing. You've now shot yourself. And I will tell you this: we've had convicted felons who are not supposed to have guns. They'll put a gun in their waistband, then they shoot themselves, and they got to try to figure out how to lie so they don't go to jail for having a gun. We've had those numerous times. It's like, "Oh, someone walked by and shot me." Really, someone walked up, shot you straight down your leg. How did that happen? So but yeah, I always say that I would, given the opportunity, I would get a concealed weapon permit. It just makes things easier for you to travel, to carry, to buy. And I know it's a pain because you have to give a certain amount of money. You have to do this, you have to do that. But I think that even with the open carry and that really nullifying a lot of different laws, the concealed weapon permit just helps you with other things, just like you talked about. You're absolutely right. I go up to Alabama. Well, I don't know what their laws are all the time, or Mississippi, or Georgia, or North Carolina, Tennessee. A lot of us travel all this southeast area. Atlanta, you go into Atlanta, you want to make sure you're good in Atlanta. It's just easier. It's just easier. And you can pop that thing out and you hand it with your driver's license. That's what I always tell people. You keep the driver's license and a concealed weapons permit together. So you hand the officer when he pulls you over both of them, because then they know you're not someone people need to concern themselves with because you've gone the extra step. You got a concealed weapon person and a driver's license. I try to tell everybody that because I'm well aware that the sheriff's office is the best trained law enforcement office in the state of Florida. We are the absolute best. We are statistically the best trained agency in the state of Florida. And I say that every day, that I'm blessed to work for Sheriff Simmons, who pushes us to be the best every day. But I don't know what an agency in middle Alabama does. I don't know what middle Mississippi or middle Louisiana or Georgia. I don't know what those agencies' level of training is. So I want to simplify my interaction with them to make it easier for them and me. Here, I know that our guys are the best. I don't know what that looks like in other states, because Florida holds some of the highest standards that you have to have in law enforcement in the United States. So state of Florida has already said, we're going to hold it this high. Well, some other states don't do that. I was in the FBI National Academy a couple of years ago, and I'm there with 240 executive level leaders through law enforcement through the world. And it was interesting to me. I guess I had never thought until I was there. The level that Florida's training is at is so much further than other states. And I'm like, well, maybe this is why we're not having some of the issues they have in other states. When you look at some of the other states.
Good point.
Yeah. And I'm thinking this makes more sense, because we were sitting there talking about the hiring practices in the state of Florida. Here at the sheriff's office, you have to get a psychological evaluation. You get a full background. Then you have to take a polygraph. Then you have to pass a physical agilities test. Then you pass a interview, an oral interview, just to get hired. So there's a lot of places in other states that don't do a psychological evaluation, don't do polygraphs anymore. So I tell everybody, the deputies and even the professional staff we hire at the sheriff's office has gone through so much just to get in the door. We're looking for the top 1 or 2% of employees in our community, because you're going to have to be the absolute best. Because you know as well as I do, Sheriff Simmons wants the best every day. He is pushing us to be the best every day, and that starts with our hiring practice. But the state of Florida in general all do the same thing. They do the psychological, which is not fun. I did the psychological. They ask you questions you don't want to talk about. They will really get down deep in your psyche. And then you have the polygraph, and the polygraph asks you everything of your life. If you've ever stolen something, have you ever committed a crime you didn't get caught for? All those different things. Very little things are left to the imagination when you walk out of that psychological and that polygraph. We know pretty much everything about you. Now, does that mean we're going to get a perfect candidate every time? No, but I'll tell you this, we're going to get the best we have. And again, when you look to other areas, other states, I don't know what those are. I don't know if I get pulled over on the side of the road in an agency with 3 officers, what that interaction looks like. I'm hoping it's going to be professional, because I believe that 99.9% of law enforcement officers in the United States of America are doing it for the right reasons. But you see on TV sometimes that's not always true. So you have to make it as pleasant and as easy on both of you in an interaction. And that's why I always say concealed weapons permit's always easier.
All right. Last question, but we got to wrap it up because I only got about a minute and a half. But I want to know what one should do. I hear this all the time out in the community. Sometimes they feel like they've been mistreated by a law enforcement officer. Their rights are they can always file a report. Yep. Tell them real quickly in 30 seconds how one can do that and why they should do that.
Oh, they absolutely should do that. But I'm going to say this. Don't try to deal with it on the side of the road. Just say, okay, just, all right, yes, sir, yes, ma'am, no, sir, no, ma'am, whoever it is. And then once you go home, you call the sheriff's office, say, I want to file a complaint. What we'll do immediately, we'll get all your information. We'll pull all the camera, the body camera and an in-car, because the good news is every one of our deputies got a body cam sitting on their chest. So we're going to know exactly what that looks like. And then we'll pull it in, we'll watch it, we'll look at it, then we'll discuss it, and we'll figure out, hey, was there an interaction or was this just a misunderstanding? Sometimes we've had some people call and say, hey, this person was A, B, and C. Well, when you watch it, it wasn't exactly what that was. Maybe it was, but again, well, I just said to you, maybe that's the worst day you're having when our deputy gets there. Yeah. And so we all know when you're pissed off, you're mad, you're upset, you're crying, everything looks a little different. And you will bring people in and say, hey, why don't you watch this video with us? You show me where you have an issue. And then if the deputy, but I will tell you this, if one of our deputies does not use courtesy, integrity, and professionalism, we will deal with it immediately.
Exactly. Just like I said at the beginning of the show when we were talking about, there's always 3 sides to a story. Your side, my side, and the truth. So let both sides present their issue, and the truth's going to be somewhere in between. Chief Deputy Hobbs, thank you. I appreciate you coming on today, and look forward to talking to you a lot more in the future here on this show.
I appreciate you. Y'all have a great day.
Okay, you too now. All right, y'all. That is Escambia County Chief Deputy Andrew Hobbs, y'all, at the Escambia County Sheriff's Office. Y'all, I got to go. Our time has run out. We'll see you again on Monday. Today is Friday. No, today is Friday. Wow. I'll see you on Monday on another edition of Morning with Vernon, y'all. Make sure you tell everybody about this show, and so that you don't miss it. So you can learn something, y'all. All right, we'll see you Monday.
It's time for Mornings with Vernon. Yeah. Yeah. Get up now. Come on now. Get up. For Mornings with Vernon. Get up now. Let's go. Get up now. Turn it up now. 1, 2, 3. Let's get it now.
Start your day with Mornings with Vernon on WBQP, Monday through Friday from